At the beginning of the 19th century, an entire continent suffered under colonial rule. From the highlands of the Andes to the vast Venezuelan plains, South America yearned for freedom. And in the middle of this turmoil, a figure emerged who will shape the destiny of millions. Simón Bolívar, a man whose passion, vision, and occasional missteps helped shape the very fabric of South America's independence. But who was this liberator, and what is his legacy? Born in Caracas, Venezuela in 1783, Bolívar was no commoner. He came from a wealthy family. However, his youth was marked by profound loss. Bolívar lost his father at the age of just 3, and then, 6 years later, his mother died. His mother's death is generally attributed to tuberculosis, and the specific cause of his father's death is less clear. These early losses had a lasting impact on his life and education, which fell into the hands of his maternal grandfather, and later an uncle and several private tutors. At the age of 16, Bolívar was sent to Spain to continue his education. There, he deepened his knowledge of history, literature, mathematics, and also learned French. In Madrid, he met and married Maria Teresa Rodriguez del Toro in 1802. While in Europe, the French Revolution and Enlightenment ideals of liberty and equality deeply resonated with him. Bolívar would not remain just another aristocrat. He would become an agent of change. Only 10 months after returning to Venezuela, Bolívar's wife died. Devastated, he returned to Europe in 1803, seeking comfort and further enlightenment. That journey would leave a lasting mark. He traveled across countries like France, Italy, England, and Germany. During that time, he witnessed Napoleon Bonaparte's coronation as Emperor of France in 1804, and later as King of Italy in Milan in 1805, an event that left him deeply impressed. In Rome in 1805, Bolívar made the famous Oath of Monte Sacro, vowing he would not rest until South America was free from Spanish rule. This was a defining moment in his life, a commitment that will shape his destiny. Returning to Venezuela in 1807, Bolívar stepped into a nation in the brink. Discontent with Spanish rule was growing, and Bolívar plunged into the cause. Simón Bolívar played a central and complex role in Venezuela's independence, a long, bloody, and turbulent process. He wasn't the only leader, but his presence was decisive. In 1810, as Napoleon's forces invaded Spain and the monarchy collapsed, a junta in Caracas deposed the Spanish Captain General. Bolívar wasn't initially a frontline figure, but quickly joined the cause. He was sent on the diplomatic mission to London, where he met Francisco de Miranda, a forerunner of the independence movement. In 1811, Venezuela declared independence, establishing the First Republic. But internal divisions and strong royalistic opposition, combined with a devastating earthquake in 1812, seen by many as divine punishment, weakened the republic. The First Republic collapsed in 1812, after just 385 days, forcing Bolívar to flee to New Granada, modern-day Colombia. In New Granada, Bolívar wrote the Cartagena Manifest in 1812, analyzing the First Republic's failures and calling for a united military effort. Backed by New Granada, Bolívar launched the Admirable Campaign in 1813, a swift, victorious military march that reclaimed parts of Venezuela. In August 1813, he was hailed as El Libertador, as he triumphantly entered Caracas and founded the Second Republic. But the Republic was short-lived. Brutal royalist forces led by José Tomás Boves and his Llaneros waged a merciless campaign. Bolívar was once again defeated and sent to exile in 1814, first to Jamaica and then to Haiti. In exile, Bolívar did not surrender. In Jamaica, he wrote the famous Letter from Jamaica in 1815, outlining his vision for a united and independent Latin America. In Haiti, President Alexandre Pétion offered crucial aid, weapons, funds, and troops, on one condition: Bolívar must abolish slavery in liberated lands. Bolívar accepted, and with Haitian support, he launched new expeditions, facing setbacks but slowly gaining ground. He began consolidating power and building a disciplined army, even winning over the Llaneros under José Antonio Páez. It was in the following years that Bolívar's legend took form, with daring strategies such as crossing the Andes Mountains. He turned the impossible into reality. Instead of a direct assault on royalist strongholds in Venezuela, Bolívar audaciously crossed into New Granada to strike from the rear. The Battle of Boyacá in 1819 was a decisive victory that secures Colombia independence and paved the way from Gran Colombia. With New Granada secure, Bolívar focused once again on Venezuela. The final defining blow came at the Battle of Carabobo in June 24 of 1821. Bolívar's patriot forces crushed the royalist army, sealing Venezuela's independence and ending Spanish rule in the country. With crucial help for General Antonio José de Sucre, the epic battles of Junín and Ayacucho in 1824 liberated Peru and effectively ended centuries of Spanish domination in South America. Today, 6 nations honor Bolívar as a founding father. But Bolívar did not dream only of free nations. He envisioned a united Latin America. His grand project was Gran Colombia, a vast federation including Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, and Panama. He became its first president, but reality clashed with idealism. Vast distance, internal rivalries, and the ambition of local warlords began to fracture the Union. Bolívar's dream, as grand as it was, began to crumble before it could take a hold. Delusioned and in poor health, Simón Bolívar watched his life projects unravel. In 1830, at just 47 years old, he died of tuberculosis in Santa Marta, Colombia. But the collapse of his union did not erase his legacy. Bolívar was a titan, a brilliant military strategist, and a political visionary who awakened a continent. His ideas of freedom, republicanism, and self-determination still echoes across Latin America. Though he never lived to see Gran Colombia endure, Bolívar lit the torch of independence that would change the face of the Americas. His spirit, courage, and tireless idealism continue to inspire generations, reminding us that even when dreams fade, the impact of a life devoted to liberty is eternal.